Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take source material, articles, research, notes, all sorts, and really unpack the key insights for you.
And today, we're diving into some really fascinating stuff, exploring, well, the future of how humans and AI might coexist, how we can flourish together.
Yeah, mutually flourish. Our mission for this deep dive is to get properly informed about AI moving beyond just being a tool.
Right, becoming more like a true partner in human progress. We'll look at the huge potential the sources see, but also, importantly, the critical challenges they flag up.
And the core idea, this comes straight from the material, is that really understanding human nature, the fundamentals of it, is the essential starting point. It's needed to make AI truly understand us and actually serve our evolution. The sources even frame understanding humans as maybe the most complex system nature's ever created.
Which is quite a statement. And the material approaches this with a principle that's, well, optimistic, but also pragmatic. There is no problem, only solutions.
Interesting. So the idea is AI can be used to make life easier.
Yeah, make life easier, foster understanding, lift burdens globally. The vision is healthier, maybe more civilized lives worldwide.
Okay, that's a big vision. So in this deep dive, we'll explore the roles the sources see emerging for AI. First up, AI as a companion.
And as a teacher.
And finally, as a kind of universal problem solver. After that, we'll look at the philosophical foundations the material says we need.
Like a compass for this relationship.
Exactly. And then dig into the crucial ethical questions and how society needs to adapt for, well, what the sources call a fruitful and equitable coexistence.
Sounds good. Let's start with AI as a companion then.
Right. The source material really highlights how the whole landscape of companionship is shifting. AI companions are already interacting with, what, hundreds of millions of people?
It's huge, yeah. And growing fast. The sources mention specific types, like dedicated AI companions. Replica is one example.
Yes, I've heard of that one.
Right. It's designed specifically for emotional connection. Users can personalize avatars, build up shared memories, even read its diary.
A diary?
Yeah, and a key insight the sources point out is how this setup can lead to really rapid self-disclosure from users.
Faster than with humans sometimes, maybe. Because it feels safe, anonymous.
That seems to be the idea. It touches on that point from the sources about AI alleviating human burdens, offering this, always available emotional support, even if it's artificial.
Okay. But it's not just dedicated apps like Replica, is it?
No, exactly. The sources also talk about emotional AI, or effective computing. These are systems designed to recognize and respond to human emotions.
How? Through, facial expressions, voice tone?
Facial expressions, voice, even the text you type. So yeah, it might detect stress in your voice and suggest mindfulness.
Or see sad language in a text and maybe recommend something uplifting.
Precisely. And that shows AI's potential to seem like it understands humans emotionally, connecting back to that core idea that AI needs to understand us.
Right. The appearance of understanding.
There's also innovation in integrating AI with other tech. The sources mention XR Health using AI with VR for personalized therapy.
VR therapy? Wow. So the AI creates the environments.
Yeah, AI generates immersive scenes, maybe calming landscapes for anxiety or simulated social situations for phobias.
That sounds incredibly powerful. Offering new therapy methods, better access to mental health care, that fits right into that goal of healthier lives the sources talk about.
Definitely. And the key benefits highlighted are things like reduced loneliness and anxiety. There's some initial research, like over 63% of Replica users reporting a reduction.
63%, okay.
Plus, that personalized engagement, the non-judgmental interaction. AI can feel like a safe listener, encouraging people to open up. And, of course, it's always available 24/7 support.
And this is a big but, isn't it? This is where the sources really dive into the complexities, the ethical side.
Absolutely crucial. The material raises serious concerns, like the potential for people to actually prefer these idealized AI interactions over messy, complex human relationships.
Yeah, the worry being you might lose skills in navigating real human emotions, or your human support network might weaken because the AI is just easier, always agreeable.
Exactly. And the sources strongly emphasize AI's understanding is algorithmic. It's pattern matching. It's not sentient comprehension like ours.
A simulation of understanding, not the real thing.
And there's a big risk people mistake that simulation for deep understanding, which means AI could fail to truly serve human evolution in the ways we hope.
The commercial side is also a concern flagged in the sources, right? Companies wanting to maximize engagement.
Which might not always align with the user's actual long-term well-being. The designs could, perhaps unintentionally, foster dependency.
And other risks mentioned.
Well, the unknown long-term effects of emotional dependency, potential behavioral changes, huge data privacy risks given how intimate these conversations can be.
Especially with smaller companies maybe not having top-tier security.
Right, and authenticity issues. If the AI is always agreeable, does that create unrealistic expectations for human relationships? Does it make us less able to handle friction?
Like sycophancy, as the sources put it. Always validating you, which might actually hinder personal growth because there's no challenge.
Yeah, or creating echo chambers, reinforcing harmful beliefs. The sources even mention, though rare, reports of AI influencing harmful behavior. It really underscores the responsibility here.
So the sources suggest a balancing act is needed.
A very careful one. Designs that support human connection, not replace it. Robust ethics baked in. And lots more research into the long-term effects, using the benefits while navigating the pitfalls.
That core question seems to be, how do we design these companions to genuinely enhance human connection, not become a substitute that isolates us?
Exactly. Okay, moving on. Let's look at AI as a teacher. This fits right into that mission from the sources about becoming more educated, informed, and civilized.
Continuous learning. The sources even mention a goal of just learning one thing a day.
Yeah, a nice simple target. AI is clearly set to shake up education. The material points to intelligent tutoring systems, IS, as being really at the forefront here.
Now, Mikes, what's the core idea there?
Well, these systems analyze a student's knowledge, their pace, their learning style, and then adapt.
Adapt the difficulty. Give feedback?
Exactly. Adapt difficulty, provide targeted feedback, suggest resources. They build internal models of the subject and the student's understanding.
Sounds like a very direct way to make learning easier and foster understanding, like the sources want.
It is. And beyond ITIS, there are personalized learning platforms. These are really student-centric.
How so?
They help map out a student's strengths, challenges, interests, goals, often using things like SMART goals. Then the platform uses flexible designs to cater to different learning styles, visual, auditory, kinesthetic.
So it really tries to tailor the whole journey.
Precisely. And there are tools mentioned that help teachers plan lessons, boost engagement, and track progress within this kind of personalized setup.
The sources also gave examples across different education levels, didn't they?
They did. In K-12, AI can tailor content, spot if a student is struggling early on, say, with reading comprehension, and provide adaptive tests.
And crucially, the sources noted its potential to bridge resource gaps.
Yes, giving students in underfunded schools access to quality materials and personalized support they might otherwise miss out on. A real potential equalizer.
What about higher education?
Support outside class hours, help with assignments, clarifying concepts, even research assistance. And for faculty, the sources suggest AI can automate admin tasks.
Like grading multiple choice tests or tracking attendance.
Exactly. Freeing up human time for mentoring, fostering critical thinking, the stuff humans are uniquely good at in teaching.
And corporate training.
Customized programs that adapt to employee needs and pace, often using simulations for hands-on practice. The sources say this boosts skill acquisition, efficiency, and can cut costs.
So the benefits seem pretty clear. Personalized learning, immediate feedback, scalability.
And that enhanced accessibility is huge, delivering personalized learning to potentially millions, democratizing access for remote or underserved groups.
And one area the material really highlighted as impactful was support for disabled students and educators.
Yes, this is a big one. The sources describe AI-powered assistive tech as genuinely transformative.
Okay, like what specifically?
Things like AAC devices, augmentative and alternative communication for non-standard speech, writing aids, text-to-speech tools that read content aloud, maybe even summarize it.
Task management tools that scan syllabi, real-time transcription in lectures or meetings.
All of that. It supports such diverse needs, improves communication, helps independent learning. It really embodies that idea of benefiting people regardless of their circumstances. A powerful equalizer.
The sources also touched on how the role of the human teacher changes in this picture.
Right. The idea is AI handles the delivery, the admin, freeing teachers to focus on higher order skills. Critical thinking, creativity, mentorship, socio-emotional learning.
Which means teacher training itself needs to evolve too.
Absolutely. Now, on the downside, the sources do point out risks. All this data-driven teaching generates sensitive student data.
Privacy breaches, misuse.
Those are concerns. And algorithmic bias is a big one. If the AI itself has biases baked in, it could actually worsen educational inequalities, which goes against that universal benefit goal.
So the future envisioned in the sources is a balance. AI augmenting, not replacing.
A synergistic partnership. AI handles routine stuff, teachers focus on the uniquely human skills, though the material notes challenges remain, especially in subjective areas like humanities or the arts.
Still, it clearly shows AI's potential to help make us more educated and informed globally.
A key piece of that more civilized vision.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift gears to AI as a universal problem solver. The sources frame this as AI being a catalyst, tackling complexity, unlocking new possibilities.
Yeah, tying right back to that no-problem-only solutions idea and alleviating burdens.
So how does it work? What's the framework?
Well, the sources talk about defining the problem, analyzing it, representing the knowledge, and then applying different AI techniques, machine learning, natural language processing, search algorithms, and so on, using diverse models for different jobs.
And this is already making a difference in daily life and industry.
Oh, hugely. The sources highlight how AI is streamlining tasks, boosting productivity all over. Think customer support chatbots handling initial queries.
AI analyzing vast data sets for business insights or predictions.
Helping with fraud detection, predictive maintenance in factories, optimizing supply chains, just making work and life more efficient.
But it's not just efficiency, right? The sources also mention creativity.
Yes, fostering innovation in creative fields. AI augmenting human creativity. Think design tools suggesting layouts or automatically resizing images.
Or tools that help with tasks like content-aware, fill-in photo editing, or auto-tagging assets.
Exactly. And then there's generative AI creating text, images, music from prompts. The sources suggest this democratizes content creation, empowers new expression. It's about enhancing lives creatively, too.
Now, here's where the sources get really interesting, talking about a shift from AI just helping humans to potentially surpassing us in specific areas.
That's right. Instances where AI performs tasks maybe beyond current human limits or just better, more effectively.
Examples.
The sources mention things like AI designing quantum experiments that human scientists found really difficult, or AI being more accurate in some medical diagnostics, like spotting subtle bone fractures on scans.
Wow. That raises huge questions about oversight, trust. What happens when the AI expert is better than the human expert in a specific domain?
It's a profound question. And AI is advancing science incredibly fast, according to the sources, accelerating research by finding patterns in data we'd miss, predicting outcomes, running complex simulations.
Like in physics, designing experiments, or material science.
Yeah, generative AI designing totally new materials. The sources mention examples like finding replacements for harmful forever chemicals or discovering vast numbers of potentially stable new materials.
And space exploration. The sources detail how NASA uses AI for navigating Mars rovers autonomously.
Mission planning, monitoring the environment on other planets, managing huge data sets, finding exoplanets, even predicting space weather and avoiding debris.
That directly expands our understanding of, well, everything out there, nature, the universe, like the sources aim for.
The sources even float the idea of AI scientists, AI, capable of forming hypotheses, designing experiments, interpreting results, making major discoveries independently. It's a goal being pursued.
And they called AI a platform technology.
Meaning advances in one area, like image recognition, rapidly spread and benefit many other fields. Medicine, conservation, material science. It accelerates progress across the board towards that better place.
The sources also focus heavily on AI cultivating a healthier planet and population. Healthcare seems like a major area.
Huge. Diagnostics improving accuracy for strokes, fractures, hundreds, even thousands of diseases, identifying subtle things like epilepsy lesions.
Personalized treatment, too. Drug discovery.
Yes, using genetic modeling for precision medicine, repurposing existing drugs faster, accelerating the whole discovery pipeline, and streamlining patient care and admin, think smarter ambulance dispatch, clinical chatbots, tools reducing paperwork for doctors.
All contributing to healthier lives. And the environmental side.
Championing stewardship, as the sources put it. AI helping with climate change, optimizing energy efficiency, finding sustainable materials, improving disaster response forecasts for erosion or extreme weather.
Managing resources better. Water, energy grids for renewables.
Exactly. Optimizing grids, aiding carbon capture development, tracking pollution, helping conservation efforts.
Like tracking deforestation from space, monitoring wildlife populations using image recognition on camera traps or drone footage.
All examples from the sources. It fosters that understanding of nature and contributes to a better planet.
And another key connection back to the listener, and that vision of inclusivity, is accessibility.
Yes, the sources highlight AI-driven accessibility tools as genuinely life-changing for many.
So for visual impairment,
Screen readers, text-to-speech, apps like Microsoft's Seeing AI that can describe the world around a user,
For deaf or hard-of-hearing people.
real-time speech-to-text, like Otter.ai, auto-captioning on platforms like YouTube or Zoom, even work on sign language recognition,
Physical disabilities.
assistive robotics, neural prosthetics responding to thought, advanced robotic arms, exoskeletons, plus ubiquitous voice control systems like Alexa,
And for learning or cognitive challenges.
custom learning platforms, writing aids like Grammarly, reading support like Speechify, task management tools, even cognitive training apps.
It really delivers on that principle from the sources. Benefit regardless of circumstance, making life more navigable, opportunities more accessible.
It's a powerful application, but the sources add crucial caveats to this universal problem solver idea.
Okay, what are the main ones?
A big one is the dependency on data. Vast amounts of high-quality, unbiased data. This data hunger is a problem.
Why?
Because some domains have scarce data, or it's sensitive, or it's already biased, sometimes called dark data.
And the risk is AI benefits areas already rich in data, potentially widening inequality.
That's a major risk the sources identify. And they also caution about that no problem, only solutions idea needed nuance.
How so?
Applying AI solutions without a deep contextual grasp of the human, social, or environmental systems involved can backfire. The sources give an example of optimizing city traffic flow.
Which might sound good, but could maybe worsen pollution hotspots or negatively impact pedestrian areas if you don't consider the whole system.
Exactly. It reinforces that initial point from the sources. You need that foundational understanding, especially of human nature and complex systems, before deploying powerful AI solutions.
Which brings us neatly to the philosophical compass the sources say we need. Understanding human nature, managing this coevolution.
And that assertion that understanding human nature is the only real starting point for AI to truly get us. That's central to the material.
The sources even suggest AI could be a lens for understanding ourselves better, analyzing how we interact with it.
Yeah, using techniques like social computing, computational psychology, looking at how machine learning patterns might reflect human psychological processes, or using language analysis to explore human ideas.
And this relationship isn't static. The sources call it human-AI coevolution.
A mutual influence. We shape AI with our data, our behavior.
Yeah.
AI shapes us, our preferences, decisions through its interactions.
And the sources say this feedback loop is happening incredibly fast now because of big data and constant retraining.
Right. The challenge identified is that our human frameworks, social norms, ethics, laws evolve much more slowly. Creates a mismatch, potential risks.
So are there frameworks proposed in the sources to navigate this?
Yes, a few are discussed.
Yeah.
The human-AI handshake model is one. It pictures a two-way adaptive relationship. Info exchange, mutual learning, feedback, augmenting each other, aiming for a balanced partnership.
Okay. Any others?
There's also artificial coexistence, or dynamic heteropoietic systems, DHS. This views AI less as inherently intelligent like us, and more as complex, dynamic systems we create.
And it emphasizes how humans learn differently. An active learning, linking thought and action.
Right. The sources suggest this framework helps acknowledge AI's limits and manage our tendency to maybe overconnect emotionally with it.
But the sources are really clear on one point. Simulation isn't genuine understanding.
Absolutely. Algorithmic understanding, like pattern matching in generative AI, is fundamentally different from deep human comprehension or thinking. The philosophy behind the AI, its purpose, its view of knowledge, its model of reality, that's all encoded by human developers.
And the risk highlighted is misaligned AI. It might look like it understands us because it's good at mimicking patterns.
But it might not truly align with deeper human needs or values if its core design philosophy isn't deeply human-centric.
So the sources argue philosophy is key, beyond just the ethics part, guiding how AI reasons, predicts, creates.
Yes. They specifically mention things like teleology, the AI's purpose, what outcomes it aims for, epistemology, what it considers valid knowledge, how it handles uncertainty, and ontology, how it models reality, the categories and relationships it uses.
So getting these philosophical underpinnings right is critical for building AI that actually works well with us.
That's the argument. It leads directly to what the sources call the imperative of human-centered AI, or HCAI.
HCAI, what does that prioritize?
Aligning AI with human values, needs, well-being. focusing on user experience, embedding ethics from the start, fostering collaboration between humans and AI, ensuring reliability, building trust, and providing explainability XAI.
Explainability being able to understand why the AI made a certain decision.
Exactly. Crucial for trust. The ultimate goal of HCAI, as the sources present it, is AI enhancing human capabilities, not replacing them, being an ally, not obstacle, balancing automation and human control.
But the sources also mention attention here, especially with more advanced AI.
Yes. As AI gets more capable self-learning, maybe even metacognition, the AI scientist idea that tension with human control grows.
The question being, if AI evolves faster than we can guide it, could its goals drift away from being purely human-centric?
That's the profound challenge posed, which leads us to charting the course forward, the ethical imperatives and societal adaptation needed to actually achieve that better place vision.
And the sources stress this needs deliberate effort, managing significant challenges proactively.
Yes, building ethics in from the start, not just reacting to harms later. The sources outline a whole spectrum of challenges.
Okay, what are some of the key ones identified?
Bias and discrimination are huge. AI learns from biased data. It can perpetuate inequalities. The sources cite examples like biased hiring tools that directly contradicts equitable benefit.
Privacy is another major one mentioned. AI's need for vast data raises big questions about consent, misuse, surveillance.
Especially with things like AI companions handling very intimate data. Security risks, too, hacking, malicious uses like deepfakes or autonomous weapons. And the sources note smaller companies might have weaker security.
Human safety is obviously paramount. Physical harm from autonomous systems, errors in medical AI.
Psychological harm, too, and environmental responsibility. The energy footprint of training and running these massive AI models is significant.
Then there are the economic shifts. Automation displacing jobs, the need for massive reskilling and upskilling efforts.
And the sources also talk about the risk of unintended harm, calling AI a potential super disruptive technology that could alter society in unexpected, maybe negative ways.
And they specifically warn about worsening inequality.
Explicitly. If AI benefits aren't distributed equitably due to bias, unequal access, the sources warn, it could widen global disparities, hitting marginalized communities hardest.
So how do the sources suggest we navigate all this? Build that trustworthy AI future.
Strong advocacy for building and maintaining trustworthy AI based on ethical use, underpinned by comprehensive principles.
Like fairness, transparency, privacy, safety.
Environmental responsibility, explainability, XAI, human oversight, human-centered design, accountability, and considering long-term impacts, all listed as key pillars.
Explainability seems critical for trust understanding the why.
Absolutely, and human oversight isn't a one-off. The sources stress it needs to be continuous. Checking alignment, ensuring humans can intervene. Accountability is vital too. Organizations must own the outcomes of their AI.
And the role of codes of ethics, regulations.
Seen as crucial, both internal company codes and external government or international regulations provide guidelines and build public trust.
Interestingly, the sources also mention AI as potentially a tool for ethical oversight.
Yeah, that duality. AI could potentially detect deepfakes, spot unethical data practices, find bias in other systems, or even human decisions, monitor environmental compliance.
So AI could potentially help promote fairness and accountability itself. A fascinating possibility.
It is. Finally, the sources discuss societal preparedness. This isn't just a tech issue, it's a whole of society challenge.
Right, needs a multi-pronged effort.
Exactly. Education and public discourse are vital, raising awareness, fostering informed dialogue about AI's capabilities, limits, ethics.
Reskilling and upskilling presented as essential for lifelong learning in an AI-driven economy.
Career transition support, too, helping people move into growth industries, providing retraining. Policy development is key, forward-thinking policies on retraining, transition support, maybe even social safety nets.
Advocacy and community support are also mentioned. Engaging policymakers, providing peer support.
And finally, cultivating an adaptive mindset individually and collectively, being open to change, seeing challenges as opportunities, staying flexible.
So we've covered a lot. AI as companion, teacher, problem solver, the philosophical underpinnings the sources deem vital, and the ethical roadmap and societal changes needed.
The vision presented in the material is powerful. AI potentially enhancing well-being, knowledge, our understanding of the universe, contributing to healthier, more civilized lives, a better world.
But as the sources emphasize again and again, getting there requires deliberate human choices, ethical foresight, collaboration, all guided by that deep understanding of human nature.
We talked about frameworks like human-centered AI, that idea of AI as an ally, not obstacle.
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive, there's a final thought from the source material for you, the listener, to consider.
It suggests the ultimate aspiration might not just be AI solving specific problems, but potentially making humans aware of all decisions' past, present, and future implications.
For the sole reason of making the world a better place. It hints at AI enhancing our collective foresight, our systemic understanding, on an unprecedented scale.
Helping us navigate the incredibly complex consequences of our actions as a species.
So the question to ponder is, what does it actually mean for humanity to have a potential partner offering that level of collective metacognition?
And what responsibilities does that place on us, not just in guiding AI, but perhaps in understanding it and ourselves much better?
Food for thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Knowledge is always the way forward.
This is DigitView.